Hello everyone, Tito Damdi here, back for another episode of our deck crafting guides, and this time we'll be doing our very first faction specific guide. Now, it should come as no surprise, especially to those of you who watch me on Twitch, that the first faction we'll be looking into will be none other than Syndicate. The best faction in my opinion, and to be honest, probably the most complicated faction to play really well. It is my personal opinion that Syndicate is most likely Gwent's biggest brain, highest IQ faction, and if you can master Syndicate, you can master anything. Now, before we go on and on about how great I think the faction is, let me just remind you that this video contains my personal opinions, and we will be looking into not only the card's power level in the current meta, but also its versatility in being able to be added into various types of decks. We'll be discussing legendary cards, or cards that require 800 scraps to be crafted, and the cards I will be mentioning aren't ranked in any particular order. So feel free to craft the cards you think will be most useful for you if you don't have enough scraps to craft them all. Before I get started, Syndicate is Gwent's newest faction, introduced during the Novigrad expansion a couple of months ago, and it brought with it dual faction cards, or cards that can be used by more than one faction, specifically Syndicate and some other faction. Let me touch on those cards very briefly before we begin, and keep in mind that you will be seeing these cards in our other faction-specific crafting guides, so you won't be surprised when you do. The dual faction legendary cards we currently have in-game are Novigradian Justice, Prophet Lebioda, Sucrus, Dodric, and Tatherwing. For the purpose of this video, we will be evaluating these cards in the context of only being played in Syndicate decks, and for future reference, you can actually tell if a card is dual faction by looking at the color strip above the card. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get started. By now, you already know how much we love thinning cards in this channel, so it's no surprise that our first card is Furko the Sculptor, an 8 provision 2 power unit that lets you play any special card tagged as a crime from your deck. This will be an ongoing pattern in my future crafting guides, so just as a heads up, every faction has its own 8 provision, 2 power thinning legendary, and Furko is among the best of them. Crime cards are among the best special cards in the game, and Furko's ability to let you play any of those from your deck is so powerful that he is pretty much an auto-include in all Syndicate decks. Next up is Philippa, a 10 provision 3 power unit that seizes an enemy unit with a power equal to the number of coins you spent. We have already touched on the seize mechanic with Muzzle, but what's better with Philippa is that she doesn't lock the enemy units she seizes, so you can use that unit's ability for yourself. Syndicate coins have an average value of 1 point, so Philippa essentially doubles that by not only taking away points from your opponent's side of the board, but adding it to your side as well. This card is also an auto-include in pretty much all Syndicate decks. The next card we have is Azar, one of the newest cards on this list. Azar is the Syndicate faction's defender card that makes it so your opponent cannot target the other units on the same row where the defender is. Not only does this card spawn one defender, it actually gives you the option to summon 2, with each defender giving you 2 coins when they get destroyed. Azar is among the best defenders in the game right now, and is a must-have if you want to take advantage of the power defenders can bring to your board. Next up is Savola, a 9 provision 6 power unit that gives you 2 coins and offers you the option to spawn an 11 power token if you have 9 coins to spare in your purse. As I've mentioned earlier, Syndicate coins normally have a value of 1 point, so gaining 11 points, not to mention 6 armor for 9 coins, is definitely a bargain. This card works the best when paired with our next card, but even on its own, Savola is a very versatile card that you can add to various types of Syndicate decks. And finally, we have Madame Louisa, a 9 provision 6 power card that lets you play your next tribute on the same round you play her, free of charge. At her best, she is 15 points of value for 9 provisions, and at worst, she is a 6-point unit with Intimidate. She has definitely seen a rise in popularity lately, but even ignoring the current meta, her stats alone should make her a strong card for many seasons to come. And that's it, our top 5 Syndicate legendary cards that I recommend beginners to craft first. Honorable mentions include Novigradian Justice, Caleb Menga, Professor, and Vivaldi Bank. All the cards I've mentioned are pretty versatile and can easily be slotted into many kinds of Syndicate decks. So, what do you guys think? Do you have other Syndicate legendary cards that you think should have made the list? Let me know in the comments below. Also, please leave a like if you like this video, and if you want to see more, consider clicking on the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Bye!